It's all on task here, and we do work really hard to bring you the Social Media Sales Machine Workshop. And here we are. It is day one, and it's time to revolutionize how you're using social media, where social media will become from a pain and a thorn in your side and something you feel like you have to do, but have big question marks on whether or not it's even worth your time, is even producing an ROI. If you stick with me over the course of the next couple of days, you will understand my system that my team and I have perfected over the last 20 years that will help you actually turn social media into a sales machine. So, welcome everybody. I see some familiar faces, I see some new faces. Again, as Shauna said, you're going to want to watch this live. It's better to consume it live, to ask these questions, because we don't hold anything back here at the Lindsay Anderson Consultancy Agency. And we're here, my whole thing is, because I've been in business for 20 years, I have seen the struggle that is, how do I generate high quality and consistent leads for my business? It is this problem, not even just leads, but sales. It is this problem that keeps business owners awake at night, that makes business owners quit if they can't figure out how to generate sales in a system that they can count on. Well, that is why business ownership can be really, really difficult. And it has become my life's work. And the reason why we give away so much in this workshop is to share with you the step-by-step system into making social media a literal sales machine for you. Now, a couple of things, okay, that this works primarily for individuals who are service-based business owners. These are business owners like accountants and doctors and lawyers and speakers and experts and consultants, those people who need a high touch with your end client in order to produce that kind of trust and to be able for them to really understand and trust you in order for them to work with you. So this is perfect if you are a service-based business owner and you're looking to get more high quality clients. This process doesn't work so well if you're selling low-cost t-shirts. It works really well if you really depend on relationships in order to secure sales. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. So today, day one of the Social Media Sales Machine Workshop, we're going to diagnose, I'm going to go over the 3 major fails that most business owners make on why their social media isn't generating any sales. We're, of course, also going to dive into how to fix that problem. So let's start here. Last year, I had the opportunity to be featured on a Netflix reality show. Now, I was on the show and I was with many people. Okay, I'll give you the premise of the show. The premise of the show was there was 14 strangers from all walks of life. There was $250,000 up for grabs, and we could either split the money evenly or vote each other out and take home more for the rest. And that's the premise. But while I was on this show, I learned a very important message here that I want to share with you. And this is, many of those individuals that I was on the show with had social media followings that far outnumbered mine. Some had 500,000 to 1 million followers. But the shocking part when I went into the house was literally that despite all of this attention and all of this visibility that my co-stars had on that show, many of them, most of them, all of them actually, were broke. They were unable to turn that visibility into anything that's monetized, anything for their benefit, and anything that even really resembled a business. And this is the same mistake, okay? Now, I had a smaller social media following, but because I understood how to post like a business owner, I knew how to use social media to amplify relationships, to make those connections, to really speak to my ideal client and to offer them a service that they really need. I was the one that was able to make money in the house, and it very, very much didn't matter how many social media followers that you had. Because here's the thing, and what I really want you to walk away with, because this is a mindset shift for most business owners. We're so used to influencers and posting so that people like our stuff, and posting so that we get the most views, and posting the most sexy, moving, crazy video so that people will remain engaged on social media. But that is one way of doing social media. That's for the influencers. And based on everybody here, all the wonderful people that I saw in the comments, you're business owners. You're here to actually sell your service. And so the biggest mindset shift that you can make, and the one that I saw in living color on Netflix, was you cannot be chasing likes and views. They do not pay the bills, which means, yes, when you post on social media, your kids or your pets or some sort of, really personal thing about your life, and you get a lot of likes and views, there is the other side of that, which is your kids, your dogs. If you're overly posting about your personal life on social media and chasing influencer, you are not building the credibility that you need on social media. You're not letting your end user understand who you are. And quite frankly, you need to ask yourself, how many people who like dogs actually also want to be interested in my real estate business or my insurance business, or want me to coach them in some way? It's a pretty far reach to do that. And so it's why I'm so passionate about teaching social media for business owners and not influencers. And the main thing to remember is that likes and views do not pay the bills, but it's conversations and conversions that do. And that's the most important part, and what we're going to be covering today. So over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be showing you how to turn your content into clients. We want to stop chasing attention and instead start building trust and sales. So let's talk about the top 3 biggest fails that I see business owners make. My team and I, we work with hundreds of small business owners. We run their social media from our agency. We do done-for-you social media content as well as consulting, and we have helped and served so many people and helped them really use social media to actually generate customers. And here are the biggest 3 mistakes that I see business owners making. So first of all, there's a huge lack of clarity. Most people get on social media, and based on who is on their social media, it's like they got their mom, they got their friends, they got their colleagues, maybe they have some prospects, maybe they have old customers, maybe they have the people that they graduated college with, okay? So you get on social media to do a story like this, and you don't have any clear idea who you're talking to. So you water down your message, you don't even understand who your ideal client is, and basically nobody really ends up getting your message because it's so watered down. So remember this: if you're speaking to everyone, you're connecting with no one. And social media is this is a clear mirror of that lesson. So it is so important that when you get on social media, you know exactly who you're creating content for, and you have a very clear idea of that. Now, the second fail that I see people make on social media is random posting without a strategy. You're posting randomly, and that creates random, unreliable results. You have to know whatever you put into social media, that's exactly what you're going to get out of it. And honestly, without a plan, your content isn't building anything real. You're just adding more and more noise to that social media landscape. And so if you're like most business owners, before they come and learn our system and start implementing it, it looks like this. Either you're outsourcing it to some third party. You are saying, hey, Mr. VA, go and schedule a bunch of this. Just random splatter my content. Just make sure that I'm posting every day. And it's random. It creates unreliable results. You have no long-term plan. And that's exactly what you're getting back from social media. Because the fact is, social media is more competitive now than ever before. And it's very easy, if you don't have a strategy, to just become part of the noise. The other thing I see business owners do is it's a lot like working out. It's crazy how posting on social media is so much like working out. You got to do it every day. Nobody really wants to do it, right? And kudos to those individuals who love to work out. I have mad respect for that. But most business owners, it's like January at the gym. They're like, I know I need more sales. I know I need more leads. And because that fear builds up inside of them, then they're like, on Monday morning, I will post every day. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to be dedicated to this. And I will make sure that this post goes out. And maybe it does for a week. Maybe if you're lucky for 2 weeks, you're so motivated and excited and you do this, but eventually you will stop doing it because eventually someone will get sick or your customers will need something and you'll fall out of that consistent posting. And what you need to know about social media today is yes, content is king, but consistency is queen. And if I may, we all know that the queen rules. So you have to figure out a way to be consistent on social media, or this won't work for your business. Now, I know I can be a little blunt there. I was like trying to soften the language on that. Like it won't work for your business. But ultimately, if you're not consistent, social media will not work for your business. And I think this is as good as time as any to mention a spoiler alert for those who are going to be joining us over the next several days, is that I don't teach stuff that is sexy and works really quick and is overnight. What we're here to tell you is the truth about how to post on social media, what it takes, what kind of investment you need to make, and how you need to show up on social media so that it actually works. That is my goal, is to share with you what works, not what sounds easy. Say yes in the comments if that makes sense. And welcome to everybody who's joining us live on social. I can get going because I'm so passionate about social media, because honestly, out of any other lead gen source that you have right now, social media, if you learn how to use it right, your client acquisition problems will become so much more simplified. And that's why I get so passionate about what I do. Okay. The third failure that I see business owners make is focusing on the wrong metrics. Again, they're so pulled to the likes and views, and I understand it. I love to be patted on the head as much as the next person, but it is so incredibly important to focus on conversations and conversions, because tracking the wrong numbers, and we see this time and time and time again in the agency. If you're focused on vanity metrics and you're chasing a big audience, your sales will be directly reflected. So, how do we go about solving these problems? I've outlined the 3 biggest failures. I don't want to leave you like, Lindsay, thank you for telling my failures, but how do we actually solve this problem? Don't worry, because I'm going to show you exactly how to solve this problem with my 4-step social media sales machine system. If you follow the social media sales machine system, this will ensure you're posting like a business owner, and it will help you generate high quality sales from social media on repeat. So here is the 4-step system. We're going to be diving into parts of the social media sales machine system over the next several days. Again, make sure you come to the workshop live. So what are the 4 steps? Let's look at it here. The first, of course, is content. Now, here's the crazy part about content, is that that's where most business owners end. They're like, social media, it is a content game. If I get my content out, then somehow people will come to me as being their clients. But there is a huge gap between just posting content, even the right content, and actually converting those individuals who view your content into clients. And so while content is a piece of the social media sales machine, I mean, we couldn't leave it out. It is only one piece. And it's very important that you understand that all of these pieces play together to make a true social media sales machine for your business. The second, we're going to talk about more about this tomorrow. You do not want to miss tomorrow. This is engagement. I mean, it is social media after all. And so if you're not actively engaging, if you're not interacting with people and building and depositing into those relationship bank accounts, social media will not work for your business. Now, I know this gets thrown around a lot. Everyone's talking about engagement. You've probably tried other things in the past, but there is a daily system that we follow, that we teach our customers to follow, that will help you nail engagement to make sure you're engaging, connecting with, and having conversations with the right people on social, all in your jammies. You know what I mean? Okay, I hit backwards on this. We're going to go with content. We're going to go with engagement. And the third step is conversion. So you have content, you're interacting with people. One of the biggest myths about social media the business owners have is if I get the content right and I'm engaging with people, people are leaving comments, I'm having DM conversations, I'm doing all this, then they will like me enough to actually seek out to work with me. And I see this a lot. Like a really good example of this is like real estate agents. We all know 10 real estate agents, right? Within a stone's throw. Do people still say that? I don't know. Within a stone's throw, 10 real estate agents. And maybe you watch the content of one real estate agent and you even engage with their content. It could be pretty easy for that real estate agent to think, well, Lindsay's always interacting with my content. Of course, she will pick me to be her real estate agent when she sells her house. But that is not the case. Is what's going to happen is it's time to sell my house, and the first agent that comes to mind, maybe somebody I had a conversation with at the park or whatever else. Maybe I don't want to look up your contact information. It is not the case that even if you have good content and they're engaging, that they will even ask you for your services. And so it is essential, and such a critical part of the social media sales machine is to have that conversion piece. How do we get them from being excited and liking you to actually, and trusting you? Who cares if they like you? I only care if they trust you, to actually convert into a client. We're going to talk about that on day 3. You do not want to miss it. And then finally, we have Amplify. We're going to take everything that is working on social media and we're going to amplify what is working. There's 100 moving parts. There's probably 50 of those that work when you follow our system, and then we perfect all the other pieces, and then you have a perfect social media sales machine on the other end because it's custom to you. So let's talk about today. Oh, I forgot the T on that. Let's pretend that says content. Okay, somebody ate my T, but we're going to talk about content. That's what we're covering today. Hey, nice to see you guys on social as well as in the Zoom room. I'm so glad you're finding use in this. So when we talk about content, okay, the first thing you have to understand, and I brought this up at the top of the meeting, is the foundations. So when we're creating content, there are some major foundations that you need to be aware of. We need the who, the what, the where, and the when on social media. And I'm going to answer those for you because that's the foundations of actually really great content. So let's answer these questions. The first is, who is your who? Like I said, most people are really confused about that. Or the other thing that is that people struggle with is they don't want to niche down. So they go really broad. They're like, I'm a leadership coach. I can help anybody who is a leader. But that's not the case. And it's certainly not the case on social media. And when you go out to social media with a broad stance like that, you won't get anybody picking you up. So you have to remember that riches are in the niches isn't just a saying for a reason. Like, it's real. And so the best, quickest answer, like you could go to 100 niching classes, right? You guys have probably heard this before. But really, it's a simple method. All you need to do, and I want you to do that right now as we're talking, is to envision your perfect client in your mind. This has to be a real person, cannot be a fake person or two people meshed together, because we want to be empathetic. We actually want to put ourselves in another person's place to understand how our marketing messages is coming through. And if you're making that up, you're making everything else up. So you want this to be a real person, and you want it to be not you. So many people will create an avatar for their business around themselves, and you really do not want to do that. So all you need to do is every time you go to make content, you have that one true client in your mind, you put her name on a Post-it note, Barbara, and then every time you go to record content, you say, what would Barbara think of this? Would Barbara like this? And if Barbara would and she'd find it relevant, then you post it. If you're not talking to Barbara and she wouldn't find it relevant, then don't post it. It's as simple as that. Okay? It's as simple as that. You follow that one tip, and way more people will start paying attention to your social media. Now, in terms of what should you post on social media? What kind of content separates a business owner from an influencer? Well, I boil that down into what I call my VEMS model. And I have a couple of examples here for you. But if you're posting these 4 types of content and you cycle through them consistently, then your end client will really be heard. You will talk to them and you will set yourself up as an expert. So let's go over the VEMS model. So V is for vibe. That's your energy, how relatable you are. It has to do with your brand. What kind of energy are you putting out there? And again, I have some examples here. The next is experience. We want to be sharing experience, your proof, your journey, what you've done, what your qualifications are. This sets you apart as an expert. Influencers don't do this. Okay. The third is methodology. What is your unique system? Share that with me. Even as a real estate agent or an insurance agent, when a client comes to you, what is your method? Is it service first? Is it always answering their questions? What does that look like? If you're a coach or a consultant or a speaker, no doubt you already have methods out there that you're teaching people, that you're walking people through. You want to make sure you're sharing that on social media, because ultimately people will buy your methodology, your step-by-step system, your process, and that will make it so they don't have to trust you as a person so much, but they can trust the method, and that becomes so much easier to sell. And then finally, skills. This is where most business owners post on social media. They just post a whole bunch of, this is how you do it. Step 1, 2, 3, very informational, very educational. And we want to do that on social media, but we also want to mix it up. So that's VEMS, VEMS. Let's go over a couple of examples here. Say yes in the comments if you want some examples of my VEMS model so that you know what to be posting on social media. Love to see it. Love to see it. So here is vibe. This is an example from one of our customers. Her vibe, her energy, her values, her personality, okay? Because you have to remember that people connect with people and not brands. So we have a really great picture of our client, Shauna, here. Very welcoming, very friendly, very professional. And then with a vibe post about find yourself caught in day-to-day thinking. She's sharing a leadership post. We want to be doing this on social media. Here is experience, okay? You want to be sharing your wins, your testimonials, your real results. If you're a speaker, show yourself speaking. If you've written a book, show people reading the book. What is your experience? If you've been on Netflix, let people know you've been on Netflix. So here's a client of ours, Rocky Garza. He is on some of the biggest stages in the world, helping some of the biggest corporate companies like Zillow and Microsoft really do forward-facing leadership. And so we post an image of Rocky speaking. It's obvious that Rocky is an expert here. And we say, have you ever considered that success might not be the destination we think it is? And talk about how he shows up in his experience. For next is methodology, another client of ours. This is a coach for insurance agents. And he has a very clear methodology about how he can take an insurance agent and expand and scale their agencies. And you can see in the Talking Head videos that we record once a month. We record Mike an hour a month and we create 30 days of high converting content based on that 1 hour interview. And part of that interview is me asking him about his methodology. And so when agents come to Mike, they're not just coming to Mike because they trust Mike. They're coming to Mike because he has a very specific method that they can trust that will help them grow their agency. And then finally, Skills, another client of ours who helps brands expand into the plus size market, clothing, outdoor brands. And you can see here as she posts on social media, the same process that Mike does. We interview her for an hour a month and we get really great content from her. Then this is what that looks like. Unlocking the plus size market. Those are her skills. Okay. And the biggest mistake brands make. This is a skill that she shares, little tidbits, little aha moments that you can get from social media. And when you combine the VEMS model and you're consistently posting VEMS on social media, well, that's when people will really start paying attention to you as a business owner and not an influencer. So we have the who, which is the one true client method. We have the what, which is the VEMS model. So what's next? We need to cover the when. And I probably shouldn't have just like put this in your face like that, because this definitely, for most business owners, they feel like this is a real pressure, is that you need to be posting 5 days a week. But ultimately, you do. You're in business 5 days a week. You're open to talking to clients 5 days a week. You are present and ready for business 5 days a week. And your social media should reflect that. Not only that, that's where the trends are. So it is essential that you have a consistent posting schedule that allows you to be out there 5 days a week. It's why our Done For You service is so powerful, because we interview our clients for an hour a month, and then we make sure that they have 5 posts going out every single week from that video that allows them to be open for business every single day on social media. And that leaves us with the where, okay? One platform. One and only one platform. This is another mistake business owners make. They think they're influencers, so that they need to be showing up on all of the social media platforms, because that's what influencers do. But the fact is, if you want to create a high quality lead source for your business, this is about creating relationships, engaging with people, reaching out to your ideal customer, and you just don't have the time to do that on every single platform. So click the platform where your customers are. Say, that is going to be my lead generation source. I'm going to be using this platform to generate leads. And like, if you like social media personally and you like some good UFO videos or some good cat memes, then that's a different account. Don't try combining personal and business. View this as a business account where I generate leads, and know who your ideal client is and be posting consistently every day. And that right there is the secret for generating more high quality clients on social media. The other thing I want to say about that is, I know you're tempted. You're like, I'm on all the socials. I may as well just post all the content on the socials. And that's fine. You can use a scheduling software. You can post the content on the socials. But in your head and in your mind and with your engagement strategy, be focused on one and only one platform. If you nail that platform and you're ready to turn your focus to another one after you have a system nailed down on one, that's great. But putting yourself out there on all the platforms and just waiting for people to reach out to you, that is not going to be able to bring you the clients that you want on social media. Okay? All right. Now let's talk about, that was the who, the what, the why, and the where of content. There's a few more things that you need to know as you go into content. It's our whole focus for today. And I want to make sure you're getting this information. So this is where a lot of people get stuck. They get stuck in, well, it's social media. Everything is planned. But when I'm out at a speaking event, those ones that is off the cuff, they always get way more visibility and traction and engagement. And so you always think as a business owner, I need to do some of those real life things, but then that ultimately hurts your planned content. And so I recommend viewing content. You need 2 types of content to make social media work, okay? Planned content that you are like my customers, you time block, you record those once a month, Okay. And you make sure every single day I've got 5 posts going, or every single week I got 5 posts going out, and I don't have to personally worry about that. The marketing machine is working. But then you also have pop-up content. If you're at a speaking engagement, if you have a book launch, if you're on a stage, if you're on a podcast, if you have an aha, real leadership insight that you had with a client that you want to share on social media, then certainly do that. Posting on social media twice a day, nothing is wrong with that. And being able to put this pop-up content when you feel inspired, it is the perfect way to mix these two types of content. But my recommendation is focus on planned first. It's the ground, the foundation that we use for our clients. As I mentioned, in a 1-hour interview, and I recommend you set up that the same or reach out to us so that we can help you with this. But within a 1-hour interview, we have all the planned content. You never, again, my customers never have to wake up on a Monday and be like, I have no content out there, but I need customers, so I have to get this content, and feeling that need. No, it is planned, it is scheduled. They know they have content for the day. So planned content for our customers look like this: a 1-hour interview once a month. Then we create every single week for 30 days from a 1-hour interview. We create 3 talking head videos that talks to their ideal client that we schedule on that platform. We also do a leadership post from that content because there's stories that were said in that content. And then we do a shareable. And this is what a weekly content posting schedule can look like. Now, in terms of pop-up content, my client here, Chris Paradiso, who runs a very successful insurance agency, he also does a lot of community service. So he does a lot of pop-up content, secondary posts to that day. He's giving away a check. He's supporting bikes in elementary school. He is off speaking and helping and inspiring other agents. And we want to know about that sort of thing on social media. It's very useful to share, but you only have to do it when you're in the moment. It doesn't affect the consistency that you have on social media. So you really need both. You want planned content to build up that trust and that consistency. And then that pop-up content that we call it can be relatability. These times where you're feeling called to share, this will really allow you to have the perfect mix of both of those. Say yes in the comments if that makes sense. So let's bring it back here to the social media sales machine. Today, I shared with you I shared with you all about content, right? We covered the who. Make sure you're always talking to your one true client. Put their name on a Post-it note, okay? And just reference that because you'll forget. The what, you're going to post your VEMS, your vibe, experience, methodology, and skills. You're going to post on one social media platform 5 days a week. That's what you need to know about content. That is how you actually create content that attracts the right person. Everything that we do in the social media sales machine connects back to creating trust, building conversations, and making sales. And today we covered content, and then the T is down there. Apparently, I was having a problem with the T. Okay, it's running away from me this week. That's okay. That's okay. But today we covered content. Do not miss tomorrow. We're covering engagement. What do you need to be doing every day to create those conversations? Wednesday, we're covering conversion. And then we have some bonus days for you where we can get even more into Amplify and some other very important methodologies that will help you be more successful with social media. So when I was on the reality show, here's a couple more pictures of it. Ultimately, let me give you a spoiler alert for those individuals who were unable to watch the show. It's still out there. It trended #1 on Netflix for over 3 weeks. It was an amazing opportunity and experience. But ultimately, here's the spoiler alert. I did not walk away with that $250,000. Okay. What I did end up doing was I made it into the second to last episode was when I was finally voted out. Okay. And the last 2 episodes I was in were named after me. So ultimately, to put it lightly, I made a splash on the Netflix show. And while I did not walk away with that $250,000 check, what I did walk away with even more secure in my knowledge that posting on social media like a business owner, having a plan, having a strategy, having a long term view, and not just competing for eyeballs and competing for visibility is not the answer to having a really successful business on social media. So I want to leave you with an action step today. Okay. And I would love to talk about these more tomorrow if you guys can do this. And I want you to take 5 minutes today to number one, decide who that one true client is. Somebody that if you could make cookie cutter versions of that person, that your business would be in a really amazing place. Okay. That one person, I want you to put their name on a post it note. And then I want you to brainstorm one intentional post that will speak directly to them using the VEMS model, the vibe, experience, methodology, and skills. And I invite you to post that. And I invite you to tag me. I want to see it. I want you to post. I don't want you to put off till tomorrow or till the end of the training or until later. I don't want you to be putting this off till later because now is the time to be on social media, make these connections, put yourself out there, start doing the reps so that you can have the social media sales machine that your business and your legacy deserves. So, tomorrow, we're talking about how to turn engagement into paying clients. I'm very excited about that. That's step 2 of the social media sales machine. That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So do not miss it. Do not miss this workshop. Thank you so much for everybody for joining me today for day 1 of the social media sales machine. I'm going to turn it now back over to my awesome team.